The pressure is just overwhelming. I don't want to disappoint John. I don't want him to think that he signed some Disney kid.
Selena Gomez was the face of Disney for an entire generation, smiling on screen, singing catchy tunes, and carrying the weight of an empire on her shoulders. But behind the scenes, it was a completely different story. According to a former insider, Selena Gomez wasn't just a child star. She was a product, used, overworked, and ultimately discarded when the cameras stopped rolling. Now, new details are surfacing about the contracts, the control, and the emotional toll that nearly broke her. And in this video, we're breaking it all down. The Disney Machine, how Selena was controlled. Before that, she had appeared in Barney and Friends and had a recurring role on Hannah Montana, but it was Wizards that really put her on the map. Now, on the surface, it seemed like Selena was living the dream, right? She was the star of a hit show, making music and becoming a household name. Her Disney projects like Princess Protection Program and Wizards of Waverly Place, the movie, were hugely successful, and she's even said positive things about that time in her life. But besties, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Behind all the glitz and glamour was a dark reality that Selena and many other Disney stars have only recently started to talk about, and it's giving major yikes energy. First off, let's talk about the control. Disney literally had Selena on a tight leash like she was their puppet or something, and not in a cute Pinocchio way. Selena revealed in a 2023 interview that she wasn't even allowed to say "what the hell" in public because Disney had to maintain this squeaky clean image. Imagine having to censor yourself 24/7 because some corporation owns your image. That's literally so toxic. She said, and I quote, "I wasn't a wild child by any means, but I was on Disney, so I had to make sure not to say 'what the hell' in front of anyone. Not being able to express normal teenage emotions or even use mild language? That's giving major red flag, and it gets worse." Selena has talked about how working for Disney made her feel like a literal product rather than a human being. In her documentary, Selena Gomez, My Mind and Me, she was moved to tears recalling how the industry treated her. It's giving major emotional damage, and I can't even imagine going through that as a teenager. At around the 68-minute mark of her documentary, Selena talks about an uncomfortable interview during a promotional tour that triggered memories of her Disney days. She said, "It made me feel like Disney. I just spent years of my life trying not to be that." She described feeling like a witch with the outfit, doing it all with the wand again, referencing her role in Wizards of Waverly Place. That's literally so heartbreaking. It's clear that Selena felt like she had no autonomy over her own identity. She was just the Alex Russo character to Disney, not Selena Gomez, the actual human being with thoughts and feelings. She has expressed frustration at being made to feel like a product during press tours. That's like being treated as nothing more than a Barbie doll that Disney could dress up and pose however they wanted. The disrespect is astronomical, and the impact of this treatment was far-reaching. Selena has talked about feeling ashamed and over-sexualized at a young age in Hollywood, describing it as really unfair. Imagine being a teenager and having adults sexualizing you while simultaneously forcing you to maintain this wholesome image. The cognitive dissonance there is just wild. This isn't unique to Selena either. So many Disney stars have spoken out about similar experiences. Cole Sprouse, who starred in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, has observed that young women on the Disney Channel were heavily sexualized from an early age. He's actually defended female Disney stars against mockery and noted the serious psychological effects of fame at such a young age. At least some of the boys had the decency to acknowledge what was happening, unlike Disney executives who were profiting off these kids. And let's talk about the image control. Disney stars weren't just controlled on set, they were expected to be these perfect role models 24/7. Miley Cyrus has spoken about how her time on Hannah Montana caused her to develop body dysmorphia because she was made to look a certain way. Blonde, long hair, glittery tight outfits. That's literally so damaging to a young person's self-image and mental health. And it's not like Disney didn't know what they were doing. This was all part of their strategy to create these perfect teen idols that would appeal to young viewers and their parents. It's giving major exploitation vibes. If you think about it, Disney treated these kids like they were characters in a theme park. They had to stay in character at all times, even when the cameras weren't rolling. Christy Carlson Romano, who starred in Even Stevens and voiced Kim Possible, has talked about how this led to severe mental health issues later in life. She developed an obsession with wanting a normal childhood, feeling like a misfit, and experiencing mental health issues and alcohol problems after her Disney days. But back to Selena. The control Disney had over her was so intense that it left lasting psychological scars. In a 2017 interview with Business of Fashion, Selena recalled feeling really violated during her Disney days, particularly as she was noticed more for her looks than her talent. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into your craft only to be reduced to your appearance. That's literally so dehumanizing. And the worst part? This doesn't even scratch the surface of how Disney treated their stars financially, but we'll get to that tea in just a bit. Relationships under the Disney microscope. Another major aspect of Selena's Disney experience that we need to talk about is how the company basically controlled her relationships and friendships. Like, imagine having your boss telling you who you can hang out with and date. That's literally what Disney was doing. First off, let's talk about the whole Justin Bieber saga. Selena and Justin started dating around 2010 when she was still with Disney, and their relationship immediately became this massive public spectacle. But what many people don't realize is how much Disney likely influenced how that relationship was portrayed. Disney stars were expected to maintain these squeaky clean images, so even Selena's romantic relationships had to fit that mold. This meant that her relationship with Justin was constantly under this Disney-approved microscope. They couldn't just be normal teenagers figuring things out. They had to be these perfect role models at all times. And let's not forget the insane pressure this put on Selena. Imagine trying to navigate your first serious relationship while millions of people are watching, and your employer is basically dictating how you should behave. That's giving major anxiety. But it wasn't just romantic relationships. Disney is known for creating this competitive environment among their young stars. Remember how Bella Thorne revealed she was forced to compete with Zendaya during their time on Shake It Up? She said this competition actually affected their early friendship, which is so sad, because these girls should have been supporting each other, not competing. Selena likely experienced similar pressures with her Disney peers. There was always this unspoken competition about who could be the most successful Disney star, who could sell the most records, who could get the most followers. It's giving major toxic workplace culture. One of the most well-known friendships in Selena's life is with Taylor Swift. They met around 2008 when Selena was deep in her Disney era, and Taylor was just breaking into the mainstream. Selena has credited this friendship as one of her most important relationships, but it's interesting to think about how Disney might have influenced even this friendship. Disney likely saw the PR benefits of having two of the biggest young stars be friends. It's great for their image to have their Disney star hanging out with other wholesome celebrities. But for Selena, Taylor might have been one of the few people who actually understood what she was going through. Taylor wasn't a Disney kid, but she did experience early fame and the pressures that come with it. And this leads to another important point. Disney stars were often isolated from their non-famous peers. Christy Carlson Romano has talked about feeling like a misfit after her Disney days, which suggests she didn't have a normal social life during her time with the company. When you're working long hours on set and constantly doing press and promotional events, you don't have time for normal teenage friendships. This isolation can have serious long-term effects on a person's social development. Many former child stars have talked about feeling like they missed out on normal childhood experiences, which can make it difficult to relate to peers later in life. For Selena, this isolation might have been even more intense because of her health issues. She was diagnosed with lupus during her Disney days and later required a kidney transplant. Dealing with a serious chronic illness while also being a Disney star must have been incredibly isolating. One of the most heartwarming aspects of Selena's story is how her friend Francia Raisa donated a kidney to her in 2017. That's the kind of friendship that goes beyond anything Disney could manufacture for publicity. It's real and it's deep, and it shows that despite Disney's attempts to control every aspect of Selena's life, she still managed to form genuine connections. But let's also talk about family, relationships. Selena fired her mother and stepfather as managers in 2014, which suggests there might have been tensions in that relationship as well. Having your parents also be your managers can create a really complicated dynamic, especially when you're trying to break free from your child star image. Disney often encourages this parent-manager relationship because it gives them another layer of control. The parents are responsible for making sure their child follows Disney's rules, which can blur the lines between parental guidance and professional management. When Selena decided to fire her parents as managers, it was another step in breaking free from the Disney machine and taking control of her own career and life. On social media, especially Reddit, there are discussions about how Disney's control affected Selena's relationships. Some fans speculate that the company's strict image guidelines made it difficult for her to form authentic connections with people, while others believe that the shared experience of being Disney stars created a unique bond among them. Either way, it's clear that Disney's influence extended far beyond Selena's professional life and into her personal relationships. The company essentially had a say in who she spent time with, how those relationships were portrayed in the media, and even how she interacted with her own family. And let's not forget about the relationships that Disney actually scripted for her. As Alex Russo on Wizards of Waverly Place, Selena's character had various love interests and family dynamics that were written by Disney. These fictional relationships were carefully crafted to maintain the Disney brand, but they also shaped how people saw Selena in real life. When your audience conflates you with your character, it can be incredibly difficult to establish your own identity. People expected Selena to be just like Alex Russo in real life, which added another layer of pressure to her actual relationships. That's giving major identity crisis vibes. vibes. So when we talk about Disney using Selena and leaving her with nothing, we're not just talking about financial exploitation. We're also talking about how they controlled and influenced her relationships, potentially preventing her from forming the normal, healthy connections that every young person needs. That's literally so damaging, and it's a part of the Disney star experience that doesn't get talked about enough. The fact that Selena has managed to maintain genuine friendships and relationships despite all this pressure is a testament to her strength and authenticity. But it's important to recognize the challenges she faced and the role Disney played in creating those challenges. So, now that we understand the kind of control Disney had over Selena during her time there, let's talk about what happened when she tried to break free from that Disney princess image. Spoiler alert, it was not a smooth transition, and Disney did not make it easy for her. The painful transition, breaking free from Disney's grip. When Selena's time on Wizards of Waverly Place came to an end in 2012, she faced the same challenge that all Disney stars face: how to be taken seriously as an adult in the entertainment industry. And besties, it was brutal. Selena has openly admitted that she felt like a joke when trying to transition to more mature roles. In an interview with the Hollywood Reporters Awards Chatter podcast, she said, "I'm grateful for where I am, but I think and I believe that I've barely touched the surface of what I'm able to do," while also noting that she felt like a joke during the transition. Imagine dedicating your entire adolescence to a company only to be laughed at when you try to grow as an artist. That's giving major betrayal. One of her first major post-Disney roles was in the film Spring Breakers in 2012, which was a complete 180 from her Disney image. The movie, which also starred fellow Disney alum Vanessa Hudgens, was filled with themes of violence, sex, and drug use. Selena explained this choice, saying, "My mom wanted me to work with a director who would really push me. I watched Kids, Trash Humpers, Gummo, and I was like, 'Mom, are you crazy?' But it was fun to imagine how you might behave if you were set free of whatever was holding you captive." That last part is so telling. Set free of whatever was holding you captive. She literally compared her Disney experience to being held captive. That's not giving healthy workplace vibes at all. And the thing is, even after making bold choices like Spring Breakers, Selena still struggled to be taken seriously. She found it very difficult for people to take me seriously when moving to adult projects. It's like once Disney labels you as their product, the rest of the industry sees you that way too. She was typecast as this wholesome Disney girl, and breaking out of that mold was an uphill battle. Selena isn't the only Disney star who's faced this challenge either. Bella Thorne has talked about how casting directors pigeonholed her into certain roles after her Disney days, forcing her to literally beg for auditions. Imagine having to beg for a job after being one of the most recognizable faces on television. The disrespect is astronomical. Vanessa Hudgens also faced typecasting post High School Musical and had to fight for grittier roles. It's like Disney creates this perfect image for these young stars and then leaves them to deal with the consequences when they're trying to build a sustainable career in Hollywood. But it wasn't just professional challenges that Selena faced after Disney. Her mental health took a major hit as well. Her documentary, Selena Gomez, My Mind and Me, details her struggles, including a kidney transplant in 2017, chemotherapy for lupus, and treatment for bipolar disorder diagnosed during hospitalizations in 2016 and 2018. While Selena doesn't directly blame Disney for her health issues, it's clear that the pressures of early fame and the psychological impact of being treated like a product from such a young age took a toll on her well-being. That's literally so sad and could have been avoided if Disney actually cared about the mental health of their young stars. And let's talk about how Disney continues to impact her even years after leaving. In a 2023 interview with Vanity Fair, Selena stated, "It's not that I'm ashamed of my past, it's just that I've worked so hard to find my own way. I don't want to be who I was. I want to be who I am," indicating she sometimes feels triggered by her Disney days. Imagine still dealing with the psychological effects of your job from over a decade ago. That's literally trauma. In the same interview, she emphasized wanting to be seen for who she is now, not for her Disney character from years ago. That's such a valid desire, but Disney's grip on her public image has been so strong that she's still fighting to define herself on her own terms. It's giving major identity crisis vibes, and it's all because Disney treated her like a character rather than a growing, evolving human being. Another interesting move that shows how much Selena wanted to distance herself from her Disney era was when she fired her mother and stepfather as managers in 2014. They had managed her since her Disney days, and according to The Hollywood Reporter, she signed with new management companies to pursue more adult-oriented fare in film and music. That's a major decision that shows just how desperate she was for a fresh start. And it's not just Selena talking about these issues. The online discussion about how Disney treated her has been intense. On Reddit, there are threads questioning whether she hates Disney based on her documentary, with users debating the extent of exploitation she faced. Some fans feel like Disney took advantage of her youth and talent, while others point out that she might not have have had the same opportunities without Disney. X, formerly Twitter, has also been abuzz with discussions about Selena's Disney days, with posts highlighting her feeling really violated during that time. It's clear that her experience resonates with a lot of people who see the darker side of the entertainment industry, especially when it comes to child stars. But here's the question. If Disney gave Selena this platform and helped launch her career, why are we saying they left her with nothing? Well, that brings us to the most shocking part of this story, the financial exploitation. And trust me, this tea is about to get even hotter. But before we get into that, let me know in the comments if you've seen Selena's documentary, My Mind and Me, and what you thought about her revelations regarding her Disney experience. Now, let's get into the financial side of things and expose how Disney's business practices left many of their stars, including Selena, with far less than they deserved. The financial exploitation, how Disney stars are left with little. You'd think that being the star of one of Disney Channel's biggest shows would set you up financially, right? Well, think again. The reality of how Disney compensates their young stars is honestly so messed up, it'll make your jaw drop. First off, let's talk about underpayment. Disney has a history of not paying their stars what they're worth, especially considering the massive success and revenue these shows generate. Miley Cyrus has admitted that she was the least paid person in the cast of Hannah Montana, despite being the titular character. She noted that she didn't know any better at the time, which is exactly what Disney was counting on. Young stars who don't know their value and don't have the power to negotiate better deals. While we don't have specific details about Selena's salary during Wizards of Waverly Place, it's likely she faced similar issues. These child stars are often just happy to be on TV and don't realize they're being taken advantage of financially. But here's where it gets even more twisted. Joey Bragg, who starred in Disney's Liv and Maddie, revealed that Disney exploited a loophole to pay young actors only 88% of the Writers Guild of America, WGA, base rates for the first 3 seasons. That's literally so shady and exploitative, and it gets worse. Disney had this strategy where, after 3 seasons, they would reboot shows to reset pay. Examples include Hannah Montana Forever, the final season of Hannah Montana, and Sweet Life on Deck, which followed The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. This was linked to Disney's 65-episode rule, designed to fit annual programming, 13 weeks, 1 episode weekday. Wizards of Waverly Place ran for 4 seasons and 106 episodes, so it's possible that Selena experienced this pay reset tactic as well. Imagine working hard for 3 seasons, finally gaining some negotiating power, and then having the show rebooted so Disney can pay you less. That's giving major corporate greed, but the underpayment during the show is just the beginning. The real financial exploitation comes with residuals, or the lack thereof. Residuals are payments actors receive when their work is replayed or streamed. For many actors, residuals are a crucial source of ongoing income after a show ends. However, Joey Bragg reported earning 0 residual payouts despite Liv and Maddie being Netflix's #1 watched show, and he's not alone. Kim Rhodes, another Disney actor, faced severe financial consequences, losing health insurance for her family and having her home foreclosed due to the inadequate residual structure, with her show airing 8 times a week. This is a systemic issue at Disney, and it's likely that Selena faced similar residual problems. Wizards of Waverly Place has been available on various streaming platforms since it ended, but how much of that streaming revenue is actually going to Selena and the cast? Based on what other Disney stars have revealed, probably very little, if anything at all. This lack of fair residuals means that after a Disney show ends, stars are often left with much less money than you'd expect. They might have been famous and successful for years, but financially they could be struggling. That's literally so unfair considering how much money Disney makes off these shows long after they've ended. And let's not forget the legal battles. A 2023 lawsuit claimed Disney used loopholes to underpay young actors, aligning with broader pay equity issues. In 2024, Disney settled a pay equity class action lawsuit for approximately $179 million, involving roughly 9,000 workers who claimed they were underpaid compared to men for similar work. While this wasn't specific to stars, it shows a pattern of unfair compensation at the company. The issue of fair pay for Disney stars came to the forefront during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Disney CEO Bob Iger called the strikes disruptive and said actor and writer expectations were unrealistic, which is giving major tone-deaf energy. Rachel Zegler, who starred in Disney's Snow White remake, responded by stating on the picket line that she deserves pay for every hour her film is streamed online, and she's absolutely right. So when we say Disney left Selena with nothing, we're talking about how they potentially underpaid her during her time on the show, likely didn't provide fair residuals for years of reruns and streaming, and left her to deal with the psychological aftermath of being a child star without proper support. And it's not just the financial aspects. Disney stars often leave the company with damaged mental health and a pigeonholed public image that makes it difficult to find diverse roles. Selena has been open about her mental health health struggles, including a bipolar disorder diagnosis, which, while not directly blamed on Disney, were certainly not helped by the pressures of early fame and the exploitative nature of child stardom. On Reddit, there are discussions about why Disney stars go off the rails after leaving, citing psychological impacts, lack of preparation for life outside Disney, and financial pressures if not adequately compensated. It's a complex issue with many factors, but the financial exploitation is definitely a significant part of it. Despite all these challenges, it's worth noting that Selena has managed to build a successful career post-Disney. She starred in hit shows like Only Murders in the Building, produced the successful series 13 Reasons Why, and founded her makeup brand Rare Beauty, which has been incredibly successful. She's also continued her music career and become a mental health advocate. But here's the thing, Selena succeeded in spite of Disney, not because of it. She had to overcome the typecasting, the mental health challenges, and the financial disparities to get where she is today. And not all Disney stars are as fortunate. Many struggle to find steady work after their Disney shows end, especially if they haven't been fairly compensated during their time with the company. So, while Selena Gomez is now one of the most successful and influential figures in entertainment, it's important to recognize the struggles she faced getting there and how Disney's treatment of young stars contributed to those struggles. Her story is a testament to her resilience and determination, but it's also a cautionary tale about the dark side of child stardom and the exploitative practices of major entertainment companies like Disney. And that's the tea, besties. Disney might create magical experiences for viewers, but for the stars who bring those experiences to life, the reality can be far from magical. From psychological control to difficult career transitions to financial exploitation, Selena Gomez's journey with Disney reveals a troubling pattern that many young stars have faced. If you found this video eye-opening, please click on any of the cards showing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.